Warning, incoming dad joke. Warning, incoming dad joke.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, Brian.
What did the zombie say after he finished running a marathon?
I don't know what.
I'm dead on my feet.
Oh, good God.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Tune in to your favorite podcast for the Halloween episode. Don't miss it. And don't forget to put on your headphones. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween.
Good evening, all you ghosts and goblins out there, and welcome to another spine-chilling episode of Three Geeky Dads, the show now served with Tums for that indigestion that comes after hearing all these really lame puns. I am Mark.
I'm Derek.
I'm Brian.
And tonight we are joined by a friend of the show, Dean of the Dead, who will be playing the role of Tito, who is unable to join us due to recently being bit by a vampire, and we refuse to invite him back in. And it really is that, not because of his Michael Caine impressions from last week.
Or the fact that he's at the New York Comic Con.
He is,
Yes.
and I hope he's having a good time.
Meeting Johnny Legs, probably.
Probably. He's in heaven.
Hopefully he'll get him on the show for us.
Spread the word, Tito. Tonight we continue this month of Halloween hootenannies with another anthology, which to the dads is the best of the best. The 1982, is it 82? Now that I see it?
I
Yeah,
hope so.
82.
1982 George Romero movie Creepshow, arguably the greatest anthology movie in the horror genre. The dads will discuss their favorite segments and use the categories that Tito made for us for our last episode, and we'll see how they work with this pick tonight. But before we dig into a feast of veal parmesan Goodman, shish kebab Costas, and some spaghetti Murphy, our own Chef Brian has opened his kitchen of horrors with another appetizer to start us off.
I feel the great need deep within me to repay you for the kindnesses shown the very best way I know how.
Oh, here we go.
Well, how's that?
With a sausage party.
Well, he must mean literally.
I've spent the majority of my adult life stuffing my meat into casings. It's thrilling work, rewarding and exhausting. Yet I won't rest until my sausage has touched the back of your throat.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
That was actually really good.
It's getting there. It's Baylor or Boris. Take your pick. It bounces back and forth. It's like Princess Leia, British for the first 15 minutes of A New Hope, and then it just trails into something else.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. So I think this is a first, but I'm going to have to say that there are going to be spoilers ahead already in this appetizer intro. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at Creepshow, one of the best horror anthology movies ever to grace the silver screen. It's a true comic horror masterpiece. But leave it to your almost always hungry geeky dads to point out that each of the 5 segments in this movie deals with eating. In the first segment, ghoulish father only wants a cake for Father's Day. In the next segment, poor Geordie Verrill eats a bullet to prevent an otherwise gruesome end. After that, Ted Danson and his mistress are consumed by the sea. The following segment sees Adrienne Barbeau being fed to whatever lurks in the crate. The final segment sees cruel Mr. Pratt being eaten alive by cockroaches. Now, where am I going with this, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. We love to eat, too, and being that it's now close to Halloween, we love nothing more than raiding our kids' Halloween haul, and that got us thinking, what's our favorite Halloween candy to swipe when the kids are not looking? And also, what do we think is the worst candy out there?
Nice. Who's going? You want me to start?
You could, yeah, go start.
Yeah? You want me to bring it
You
on?
start.
All right. Okay. First of all, it's raining outside.
Yeah.
So, in case
We
you're
apologize
wondering,
for the rain.
We are not making popcorn back here. Kind of wish we were, but it is. Sorry, Dean. Welcome, by the way, Dean.
Oh, hi.
Just kind of skipped over the welcome. We'll get to you in a second, sir. My gosh. Yeah, but it's a perfect night for mystery and horror. So here it is. I'm going best candy, Snickers, Snickers, and Snickers. Ooh. That is my favorite go-to Halloween candy. Fun size Snickers, full size, it doesn't matter. It is the greatest candy to me. It has everything I want. The least candy is And I'm not going to say candy corn because I feel like everybody's going to say candy corn.
Yeah.
But not Dean.
I disagree.
Oh, it begins. It begins. All right, hold on.
Dean likes turning them around and making little vampire teeth out of them before he eats them.
Least favorite candy for me. I am not an Almond Joy fan. Anything with coconut,
I agree.
is a turnoff.
Those have nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Mounts?
Yeah, Almond Joy has nuts.
Yeah.
Mounds
That's right.
don't.
Mounds don't.
You're right.
Mounds
Sometimes
don't.
you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't.
Are they both coconut?
Yeah,
They
they
both
are.
are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so either one of those suck.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm with you.
That is
Not
that
a
is-
fan of coconut.
No,
Coconut's
I'm
an
not
affront to
at
God.
all.
It is a pretty
my-
bad flavor because it automatically brings to mind sunblock, so it feels like you're eating
Yeah, exactly. I'm eating suntan lotion.
Yeah, it's odd. It can't decide what it wants to be. It wants to be one thing, and then it turns into something else really quick. It's like, oh, this is fun. No, it isn't. You know.
Although,
just-
do you like pina coladas?
No one's gonna sing it. Really?
If you like
George walks in the rain, it's raining too.
Waiting.
Do you like peanuts?
Not
Because
really.
I don't like the
Inside,
flavor of coconut, but
No.
I do like a pina colada.
They're okay, but it's not
probably
my
'cause of the
favorite
rum.
drink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
rum makes everything good.
Yeah.
How about a macaroon?
Well, you just take that back, sir.
I'll tell you, the only thing that I like that's got coconut in it are those Girl Scout cookies, those toasted, what are those,
yes,
the
I
s'mores?
don't like those either.
You don't like those?
The s'mores don't have coconut.
No,
No, which
the
one is it?
Samoas.
It's Samoas.
Well, they're
Samoas.
not called the Samoas anymore.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe they.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they
They're
changed them.
like-
I don't know.
They're coconut tinglings.
Really?
Or no.
Well, that sounds just
No,
dirty.
there's-
It does.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I got a box of
I hope you
coconut
are, Dean. I
tinglings
hope you are.
downstairs.
Island Delights or something like that.
It's a good change. It's a good change. You changed it to latrine. Dean, you want to go next, man?
All right. First of all, I'm going to stand up for candy corn. It is not like what I like to get in my trick-or-treat bag, but I do enjoy it at like Thanksgiving, at Halloween.
What do you stuff your turkey with, Dean?
But here's the thing. I buy like a ton, because of people like you. There's always a lot of extra
Candy corn.
Now, do you wait until November 1st?
I do.
When it's like half off anymore?
And I buy a lot of it, and I save it to be able to eat it through the year when you can't get it in the store.
Does that stuff go stale at all?
It starts off stale.
Yeah,
so
is it ever not stale? I think that's part of the problem.
Well, I didn't know if it actually got worse.
Is it a reverse osmosis
I
kind of?
don't know if it's a word, but it does get staler.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to be super boring and say mine is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
That's not boring.
That's not boring at all. That was
That's
mine.
classic.
That one's mine.
Is it?
Classic.
Yeah.
But in that, I also want to acknowledge no one's giving these to you for Halloween, but technically it feels like a Halloween candy. Mr. Bones, the plastic coffin.
In the coffin.
You get a plastic
I used to love
coffin
those. The
with-
puzzle candy, they
Yeah.
called it. Because you could put them all together.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
remember you
sugar
talking
bones.
about this.
I
'cause
did
you
talk
guys
about it
did this
when we
on
did
Chicken
this on
Chat, right?
Chicken Chat,
Yeah.
and I had to bring that up then too. So,
Nice. Mr. Bones.
Mr.
So what
Bones
about
and
your least
candy
favorite?
least favorite. I don't know if there's a candy I don't like.
Wow.
I guess
Get this guy some squirrel nuts.
My
and see what
mom
happens.
is a big Mounds fan, and so that would always be what was left last in the bowl.
Yeah.
I'd still eat it, but it was definitely the last one in the bowl.
You ate it because you had to. No other option.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
It's the pink Starburst.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there at the end of the bag.
were you the pink Starburst?
I all cherry.
The wallflower of candies.
Yep.
You realize that there are two people that eat candy corn year round, you and Norman Bates. So everybody be really nice to Dean for the rest of the evening.
I sit with my.
By the way,
tax
people,
bill.
Dean just bought a hotel.
She's a good girl, mother.
Oh, God, mother! Blood. The blood. Brian?
All right, so I usually like sweet and salty stuff, and like Reese's would have been my number one because I love peanut butter, I love chocolate, but the Reese's peanut butter that they put in that is like a powdery. It's not creamy, and I don't like it. I don't like the consistency of it. It's dry, and it makes me want to like drink a vat of milk, and I don't want that either.
I like milk.
So to get my sweet and salty fix, it's either Snickers like Marc or better yet, I like Twix or Kit Kats. I like crispy,
I do like
crunchy,
Twix.
crackery stuff. For my worst, circus peanuts.
Yeah, those are
Circus
pretty bad.
peanuts are the worst. Follow very closely by black licorice anything.
Yeah,
Either the
silent-
licorice
yeah,
itself or
same.
the jelly beans.
Yeah.
Candy corn for me will always suck. Sorry, Dean. Candy
I
corn.
love black licorice.
Oh my God! You know what? My mom does too, and I'm glad I didn't inherit that.
Here
from
comes
her.
the knife.
My mom would always eat that stuff whenever we got it because me and my brother and sister never ate it, so my mom would always scarf up the black licorice, whatever.
I enjoy a nice can of licorice all sorts.
Really? Ooh.
You want chalky and licorice.
Well, speaking of chalky, I put down any house that gives out Necco wafers, good and plenty, or Smarties deserves to get egged, and or have a flaming bag of dog shit left on their doorstep.
Yeah. Which tastes better than pretty much any of those candies.
And that's a good
I'd rather eat
segue
the dog
'cause
shit.
Yeah, that-
Necco, anything by Necco is, and I know that they're a local company.
They
I'm
are.
supposed to root for them, but
No.
there's a reason that no one
Yeah.
that they are in the situation they're in.
Hey,
It's
now
'cause
a
they're
word from our
candies-
new local sponsor.
I know.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, I agree. Any of the Necco stuff, and I didn't mind Smarties. Smarties were the bigger ones, right?
Smarties with the little ones that came in like that plastic sleeve.
Oh, I'm thinking Sweet Tarts.
Oh, Sweet Tarts
Sweet
were
Tarts
big
were
ones.
good.
Yeah, Sweet Tarts were good. Yeah, but the Smarties one,
You guys
they
didn't
look like
Smarties?
pills. Huh?
You didn't like Smarties?
They were just okay.
I don't think I ever had one.
Like that. I don't
Oh,
like
and it
that.
shows,
that
Mark.
chalky.
Huh?
It shows
I
you've
know.
never had a Smartie.
That's why I don't like you, Smarties. You think you're better than me?
You think you're so Smartie.
Bunch of nerds. Nerds I like.
Nerds are good.
Nerds, ooh. Derek, how about you?
It's like the Pop Rocks without the pop.
Oh, excuse me.
What the hell?
My favorite is
hungry.
Reese's peanut butter cups. I am not a chocolate fan. Like in general, like
Get
I don't
away
like.
from
me.
Well,
No,
no,
see,
I won't eat things like Hershey bars. Like if it's
No.
just plain chocolate, no, thank you. I do like Reese's, all-time favorite. But since that one was picked, I will go with my runner-up, which is either Three Musketeers or Milky Way.
Both very good.
Those are
Both
always
very
fun.
good
Yep.
runners up.
And I
Just got a
remember
question. What is nougat?
It's,
Besides the
he's
fact
a
that it's
racist
good.
singer from the South. Cat Scratch Fever. And
Ted Nougat.
it's like a marshmallow, right? I mean,
I guess.
because that's Three Musketeers are all nougat.
Yeah.
and that's the inside.
And then you add a little caramel and you get a Milky Way. And then if you
yeah.
add caramel and peanuts, it's a Snickers.
Yeah.
I just
See,
thought,
I
I
don't
thought it
like
was a
this.
fancy way of just saying nugget.
Nugget. It's French, Mark. It's very
it's
classy.
French. Smarties
And
again.
I remember when I was a kid growing up in Bridgewater, Drew Bledsoe lived in Bridgewater.
He did?
He lived on this
Yeah.
little cul-de-sac off of 104. And we went trick-or-treating to his house one year. And he was giving out full-size Snickers and Milky
As well
Way
as
bars.
you should. He can afford
Like
that.
king-size, like the king-size ones.
Yep.
And yeah, I just those are usually.
Did he
what
tell
I
you to
steal.
go long and he threw it across his lawn to you at the end of the
Yeah,
driveway?
someone else picked it because
Perfect spiral.
It's a pick six, Drew.
So, Derek, here's the question. As a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup fan, what size cup do you prefer? Because each cup has a different
Yeah.
Double D.
ratio.
handfuls
Not
just
to
handfuls
wear.
plenty. Handfuls plenty. I do like. I like the standard one. I'll eat the small, the cups, the little mini cups. Anything like I don't really like Reese's Pieces though because like those are too small.
Well, yeah, and those don't have much chocolate in
No.
them or any at all.
And I like the Halloween ones, the pumpkins. But like the Christmas trees,
See,
That look like a
too
piece of
much
shit.
Peanut butter.
they call it a Christmas tree, but it's really not.
the pumpkins look like a kidney.
Yeah,
And
I was going to say that too. Like when they try to do like the holiday shapes, it's
but
never what
I
they say
think
it's
I
gonna
want to
be.
say that the Christmas tree is the biggest one that they do, and I don't or sometimes they'll do like a mega, and those I don't want.
Yeah, I prefer the little ones because
Yeah.
it's like the perfect chocolate to peanut butter.
I
Perfect
agree.
chocolate
Yeah.
to peanut butter.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome pick. I'm hungry now.
I know,
All right.
I know. We should have brought some
This
candy.
was
Exactly.
a terrible idea. This appetizer idea did come from my wife, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Because we were noodling around on what to do. She's like, "Have you done candy yet?" We're like, "No." And she's like, "You idiot, do candy." Yes, dear. You Better. Then she hit me. No.
For Thanksgiving, we're gonna do sides.
Oh,
side dish.
Thanksgiving will be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be good. What annoys you
What
most
are you
about that?
thankful for? Seconds.
All right.
Good job. On to the main course.
On to the main course.
Let's do it.
Besides, a sausage party is a good chance for men to blow off a little steam.
We'll be there.
I love sausages.
Me too, like it's so good.
What goes on at a sausage party?
Well, Daryl, it sounds like it's a parties where guys eats a lot of sausages, like literally it's a sausages parties. But also, it's a dudes-only party, so figuratively, it's a sausages parties as well.
You all right there?
I'm okay. Zombies, plant people, and things in a crate. Cockroaches and children with parents they hate. 5 tales of terror from Romero and King. Ted Danson before Cheers, that's a hell of a thing. And evil Leslie Nielsen, not funny or silly. And that monster over there, just tell it to call you Billy. Each story is thrilling and truly a hit, filled with blood, guts, and gore, and meteor shit. These stories are hellish, blazing fire and arson. Thank goodness for Derek that there is no Brie Larson. Like Ed Harris's dance to the song Don't Let Go, we have shivers and shakes as we talk up Creepshow.
That was awesome.
Yep. Really good.
Is it fun? I think I'm just going to do these here.
I was gonna say, you just
I'm
ask
gonna
you
do
to do
these
that
for
for
each Halloween. I'm going to miss doing this. Doing this out loud, trying to. What rhymes with crate? Hey, King. How can I work Brie Larson into this? There's only one word that rhymes with Larson that I know of, and it's arson. Or Alan Parson.
So Johnny Carson.
Carson. And my kids are looking at me like,
Yes.
Dad, what is wrong with you?
What's another word for a priest? A parson.
Oh, where were you?
You never called. You never called.
I didn't. It was like,
Story of my
screw
life.
those guys.
You never
I
call
got
me.
this. Let's open the door to Creepshow now. Who wants to start? Opening thoughts. Would our guests like to go first?
Yes.
Sir Tito.
I love this movie.
Okay, there you go. You did, which is why we did ask you to be on, because like we said, Tito could not make it. He is in New York, but so if anybody's looking for him, I guess we gave you a lead on where to find him. Sorry.
It's a big city. Good luck.
So we got Tito point 2 over here.
Notice you never see Tito and I in the same place.
It's true.
I don't even know what Tito
That's
looks
true.
like.
I don't. Yeah, because you haven't. Every time he's been on, Tito's been off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a guest too that was, who was it that would always come on when you were gone?
Derek Rook.
It was Derek.
Oh,
Rook?
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I always miss Derek.
And it was Tito for a little while too. No,
because
you were there for the first
I
time?
was on with
Yeah.
Tito a
I
few
think
times.
it was Derek Rook. Anyway, Dean, what do you think of Creepshow?
I love it. I am a big fan of the anthology films.
Yeah.
And, going back to the Amicus ones. And this one's tight. Like, there's a lot of stylistic choices that done in other movies are terrible. The strong light, the strong primary colored lighting,
Yeah.
the flashing with the background.
That I love.
It works so well in this, and you see many other movies try it.
Yeah.
And many other movies fail. And this one is definitely a Halloween go-to for me.
Yeah.
We watch this almost every year. Though I rewatched it today, and it's amazing how watching it every year and loving this movie, I still forget half of the stuff that happens.
Oh, yeah.
in it. Like I remember the
Yeah.
basic stories, and I'm like, oh, he drives the crate off the cliff. I forgot about that.
I never remember which ones are from which creep show, because I was thinking that the Leslie Nielsen one was in the second one. Like I knew the crate was in the first.
Yep.
And I knew the
Jordy Verrill.
Yeah,
with the meteor
but
shit.
I couldn't remember which other ones were in this one.
So
versus
I
two.
told you I'd tell you my childhood connection to this movie. When I was in junior high, I was in a summer school theater program, and which is what I do now for a living. And I met a friend, and we put on The Crate as our junior high summer theater program.
is awesome.
That is awesome.
I hadn't even seen it at that point. Like, and my friend who went on to, he's an expert on horror movies and writes for Variety, and introduced me to every obscure movie. And we put on The Crate. I built a fluffy puppet for it.
That's
and
amazing.
we did a junior high production of The Crate. And it's a bit late to sue us now, but and I'm sure it would have gone viral if YouTube existed back in the 70s or 80s.
So wait, who played Billy?
She actually, I'm trying to think, a friend of mine who actually I think went on to be in the CIA, or like it was, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was all junior high school kids, and it was super fun.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So that's,
And they let you do that.
Yeah,
Great.
God bless that drama teacher who was a very nice guy.
Did the drama teacher know what it was from?
Oh yeah,
did he
I would
recognize
assume
it?
so.
Yeah.
I mean, because we did it. I mean, I'm sure there were aspects of it, but in the early '80s, you could get away with a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot more fake smoking and fake drinking than as a theater educator I will allow now. And I guess the like monster murder and that type of thing. I'm amazed, but we did.
How many gallons of stage blood did you go through?
I don't think there was any actual blood.
No.
Did you have a janitor that said "fuck a diddle"? Because that is my favorite word. One of my favorite words in that whole movie is "fuck a diddle." It's not hard.
So now, like you, like me, are a fan of Amicus and the older ones. Would you say that this Creepshow is the best anthology, or do you think one of those ones are?
It's hard to. It's like choosing your favorite child in a lot of these, because they're all special in their own way.
Yeah.
I think the other ones have a charm in their datedness, whereas this one holds up.
Yeah.
More, even though there's so much outdated technology in this movie. That's all I could think of in this whole thing was like, wow, there is a lot of stuff that is like, a young person watching now, maybe like, what the hell is that thing? Like, it is like so dated in like.
No one I noticed was actually, it surprised me how good it held up was the Geordie one.
Oh,
it's
so good.
Like, all the set dressing and everything for that, and the way that like each take. They go back to him and he has more. Yeah. I'm like, wow, it looks really cool.
Yeah,
like
they did a really good job.
Yeah, and the lighting, I sit there watching and going, okay, they're using a green filter, but they're also, I think, using a black light on fluorescent green and getting that kind of mixed glow
effect.
And green feel to it. And it's, like I was saying to you guys earlier, like my copy is one of the very first DVD versions of it. And it is a very poor print. Like there's stuff jumping around in the background.
I think I got that same one.
And it still looks great. Like it's so so beautiful in its shooting. And again, like I know you guys talked about the Munsters movie. Now people trying some of those same styles in there.
Yeah, because Rob Zombie used a lot of those same effects.
A lot of it. And
with the cartoony backgrounds and the color. And definitely bathing everything in an acid green.
And even in Jody Verrill, which I will say is my favorite. I know that might come up later in the questioning. But that one has like wall to wall, like Looney Tunes music behind it, which Rob Zombie also used to a much lesser effect.
And
it's
Stephen
not
King
annoying.
was very like overacting. Like,
and he
very his facial features and
he was also very high.
Probably true. Yeah.
I was like, I kept thinking, if you keep crossing your eyes, they're going to stay like that.
I know.
Well, I read that Romero told him to play it like he was Wile E. Coyote right when he was falling, like when that happens to him in the cartoon.
Yep. The expression on his face is the best in that one. Just this look that's just there all the time. The look of befuddlement. I can relate to that.
His performance is great. Like, it is fantastic.
Very quickly,
especially for like a non-actor.
Oh, you lunkhead, Jordy Verrill.
You done gonna die.
I wonder how much they pay for it up to college. So last week I had mentioned going to a reading of his because you had brought up Stand By Me. So we were allowed to go up and ask questions later. And I didn't know what to ask because everybody was like, asking the dumb questions like, how do you write so good? Or how do you go? I was like, shut up. It's like, what am I going to? Oh, I know. And I went up, I said, hi, I don't have a question. I just think you deserved an Oscar for your role in Creepshow. He lost it. He loved it. It was like, oh, that is great. Get this man a hot dog. That's
Meteor shit.
And it's true. It's an awesome performance.
It really is.
It really
is.
Brian.
Yeah. No,
are you done? Sorry. First of all, anything else? Okay.
No, I'm with Dean. I love this. I actually remember seeing this in the movie theater when it first came out. I think my mom and dad, both of them, brought me to see this one, along with my friend. I think it was Ron at the time. We were big Stephen King fans. We read a lot of his books up to that point. So we couldn't wait to see this movie when it came out. Unfortunately, I didn't know George Romero's work at the time. He was just another name that was involved, and I just went to see it because it was Stephen King, and I loved it. And I actually think this might be the first anthology that I remember really seeing, too, back in 1982. Of course, now I've gone back and I've looked at a lot of the Amicus stuff. I finally got to see Karen Black's Trilogy of Terror, all these other great anthologies that have preceded it. But this one will always hold a special place in my heart because it was scary, it was gory, it was funny, it was well written, well acted, it had a hell of a cast, it was perfectly directed, like Dean said, the lighting effects, the cartoony backgrounds and everything that just made it look like a comic book come to life, which is what it was meant to be, and they pulled it off brilliantly, and I love it.
Nice. Derek?
Same. I do. I don't know if I'd be able to say it is my favorite anthology movie. I think that's probably either Trick or Treat or House That Drip Blood.
That's a good one.
Definitely one of my favorites.
That is a good one. Stumbled on that one like you by accident.
Yeah, and it was like a complete accident, and I fell in love with it. But the pedigree of actors that the Creepshow movies get alone is like shocking. Like especially for what it is. I mean, it is. It's kind of a goofy horror. It would have been a hard sell for a lot of actors back then, and to get the people that they did. I mean, Hal Holbrook and Ed Harris before he was famous.
That's right.
And,
I forgot he was in it.
I mean, it's fantastic. All of them. I mean, there's one weak one, but I feel like every anthology has at least one weak weak one. But even the weakest one isn't that horrible. It's
still watchable.
It's watchable, yeah. As long as you don't like bugs. But,
I knew that's what you were thinking of. Because I'm with you. I think that's my.
I think we all agree on that one.
I think it doesn't, and that's the one that kind of ends it. And it kind of ends on a.
It's what I didn't get to see.
Yeah.
When I was rewatching,
like all the other ones are good, and then that one, it kind of like ends on a flat note.
I believe it's also the shortest of them.
You might be. Well, I thought the Geordie one.
The Geordie one's really
Geordie
short.
one's
Yeah,
short
I think
too.
that was the shortest.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think this one would be the second shortest.
Yeah.
I don't like Tom Atkins without a mustache.
Yeah, it's true.
And he's an asshole.
And he's an asshole.
That I don't mind because I feel like he plays a good asshole.
He does.
But it was unnerving to see him without the mustache, and I kept thinking, oh, he must be so cold. He's so cold.
But he originally wanted to be Jordy Verrill, and he asked because he was,
Did he really?
it was like because he's good friends with George Romero. He said, "Hey, anybody playing Jordy Verrill? Because I would love to try for this part. It would have been interesting to see what he did." He's like, "No, Stephen King wants to play that." He's like, "No, shit, I haven't had a prayer." He's like, "But listen, can you do me a favor? Can you play an abusive dad and hit Stephen King's son?" He's like, "Sure, George, whatever you want."
Yes, his dad took the part I wanted. I will beat the shit out of his son.
Sorry,
I will
Derek,
gladly beat him up.
Continue.
No, I mean, and that too, like, not just the caliber of actors, but the fact that so many played against type. Like Leslie Nielsen, the role that he had, it's so, it's weird, but it adds to like the experience watching the movie, seeing him act like that. Knowing him from all the. The Naked Gun movies and Airplane.
That comes later. He's fresh off the first Airplane movie when this movie came out. So he's like.
But I mean, for my generation, like, I knew him from those movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Any,
Same here.
Yeah.
Any serious stuff that he ever done.
Right.
And that was scary. And just the way that the storytelling and like you said, the imagery. But yeah, I mean, it's a great flick, and it definitely holds up, and definitely belongs in people's hierarchy.
Agreed on all accounts, guys. Absolutely. This is my favorite anthology movie. Trick or Treat does come close.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see why people would pick that one. I know for some of my younger friends who have like seen this film, they look at it and they like it, but there is stuff they look and say, "Oh, this is really silly. How is that?" So I get that, but I saw this in junior high, and Jason Pritchard, who does the intros for these shows and everything, he had recorded it off like HBO or whatever, and he was telling me at school, he's like, "Dude, you got to come over. You have to see this movie." Because like you, Brian, I had never seen an anthology before, or at least I don't think I have.
Yeah.
So he's like, there's like all these different stories, and there's this thing, and it's gory as hell. It's like there's blood in it. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I saw it, and I fell in love with it then.
What were the other two movies on the VHS that was
you
on?
don't want to know. That comes later. Gross. So I had always loved the movie then, and as I got older, I knew it was based on a horror comic, but I had there was no way to get to the EC comics at that time.
No.
So when they started bringing them back, reprinting them or whatever, I started reading them much, much older. And my appreciation for this movie only grew because they were spot on in creating
It was such an
the
homage.
perfect EC comic. From the lighting to the actors to the campiness.
And I love the transitions, like in between when it cuts from like the still of the last shot and kind of cartoonified.
It becomes
the animated opening. It was great. I had never seen a movie like this before.
No, same here.
And I watched it all the time. I got a copy eventually, and I just watched the shit out of it because it's on my top 10 of horror films.
Yeah, same here. I remember seeing it like countless times on HBO after seeing it in the movie theater. And I couldn't get enough of it.
I just have such fun watching this movie. It's a funhouse ride, and it's the best. It's got an ensemble cast of greats, like you said, and thank God half of them starred in John Carpenter's The Fog, because I'm pretty sure that's how Romero got him. Because Romero and Carpenter were good buddies, and Adrian was dating John Carpenter at the time, so it helped. But they pulled together an incredible cast. It has everything. It's got Tom Atkins, not the best Tom Atkins. He's kind of mean, but then again,
cold.
He's a little cold. And without his mustache.
Does he look less manly without the mustache?
He does, a little bit.
He looks funny looking. It's like if I shaved my facial hair, I'd look like a big giant baby. and that's what it is. It's like
with the beard, just a hairy baby. So you want to dive into this? Just go through
let's
it really
do it,
quick?
man.
All right, so it opens up with the father, Tom Atkins yelling at Stephen King's son, Joe Hill.
Joe Hill.
Right? Young Joe Hill, who's, you can tell by his room, he's into horror and comics, and his father's asking him where he got this terrible comic book called Creepshow, which after slapping the kid in the face for talking back, he throws in the garbage because this is what parents did in
I took care
the
of
50s.
it. I took care of it.
Took care of it.
So
that's why God made fathers, babe. That's why God made fathers. And I will say that sometimes because my kids...
Yeah, where's that sound clip for this show?
I know, right? That's being isolated.
Because my kids love this movie. My kids absolutely love this film. They have a lot... So if they get out of hand, I'll be like, do your homework, because that's how God made fathers, babe. And
So when we went to go see Joe Hill introduce Black Phone, he told the story about going out after the shooting of that with the...
Yeah, because what was his involvement with Black Phone?
He wrote the original story.
He did? Okay. All right. 'Cause I remember seeing his name in the credits because me and my daughter finally watched it for the first time about a week or so ago. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good... It's much more of a kid-friendly movie.
It kind of is. She's 13, and there wasn't too much that
right, even he called it a dark Goonies. Like it has... It's enjoyable. It's from the 20th Century Ghosts collection.
Okay.
Of his short stories.
Nice.
So he told the story about when he was a kid doing this movie. He went out after the shooting with the abused makeup still on his
I read about this.
No.
Yeah.
They actually,
and somebody called the cops on Stephen King, right?
It's funny. It said that on IMDb, but he didn't say that they called the cops. He did say that it caused a stir.
Oh, no.
Yep, and that's how it was back then. People, the parents blamed the comics for all the violence. They punished their kids and threw them out and said these comics were immoral and indecent. And then they went, out and joined a rally to get black people out of their neighborhood. So it makes total sense.
Right? Exactly.
So he throws away the comic. That's when the title happens, and the kid, meanwhile, tells his dad he hopes he rots in hell, and he sees the creep outside the window. Very great creep built around a real human skull. Tom Savini is at his finest. Tom Savini and his crew. And then we get right into the story. We get right into the first story called Happy Father's Day, or it's Father's Day.
Yeah, I think it's just Father's
Day. Right.
Yep.
Which
Everybody
is
drinks.
featured in our
opening.
In our
drink till
opening.
it's good.
Everybody drinks in this movie. Brian had mentioned eating in this film. There's a lot of eating, but everybody has a drink right before they die in this film.
Yeah.
Think about it, and we'll go through
Think about it.
As I
Won't you?
take a sip of my beer.
I know, as we're all drinking here right now.
So we meet this incredibly rich WASP family, including a young Ed Harris who's marrying into this family. And
The Granthams.
The Granthams. And they're telling this story about crazy old Aunt Bedelia and how she killed her father and they're the
A verbally abusive father who killed Bedelia's lover.
It's a great way they show it, too. He supposedly died in a hunting accident. And they're all waiting for this ham. Everybody's hungry. And, everybody's waiting for Aunt Bedelia to arrive. And finally she does. And she goes right to the gravestone of Nathan Grantham and sits there drinking whiskey, has a little monologue, which is a great monologue. He
was a good man.
Yeah. Everything I wanted, he wanted for me. You bloody bastard.
You called me a bitch.
Sylvia fixed it all. Ashtray back in place. Full daddy bad. Like the joke in American Werewolf in London, I only recently got the whole monologue because whatever accent she's using is so thick. It's like, wait a minute, what? Did she say bast? What's a bast?
Apparently she made that up.
She was on the spot. Yeah.
Really? It was all improvised. That's amazing.
I mean, it's lunatically apparent, but it does work.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me because just the way that these actors were.
I think there was a lot of that. There was a lot of improvising. Creepshow. I was looking for Creepshow fan theories earlier to see if I could come up with anything with that drinking. Unfortunately, I couldn't.
Couldn't connect the dots.
That ashtray shows up in every segment.
Yes.
Which I did not know.
I didn't know that
either.
Yeah.
I never noticed that before.
Get that special edition commentary. They'll point it out to you.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
So what's the significance with the ashtray?
It's just in
It shows up in each one.
It's
I know it does.
It's the ashtray that she used to kill her father.
Yeah.
But then it is in each of the other vignettes. It's
so it's just there.
It's
just
a
an Easter egg.
It's a fun thing.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
They're just
I
having
don't know
fun.
if it was supposed to signify
Halloween
something
egg.
else.
Like the dead man's
Halloween
gun.
egg.
It is.
It's a Reese's egg.
it's a Reese's egg
No, the Easter one.
that has a poor ratio of peanut butter to chocolate.
Vivica Lindfors plays Aunt Bedelia. It's an awesome performance,
it really is.
and Carrie Nye is Sylvia, the sister. She, after her monologue, she takes a swig of whiskey, which, and I read this in the IMDb, which I think is cool. I guess whiskey in Irish folklore is like the water of life.
That's
or
what it
something.
means. Yeah.
That's what
And
it,
as soon
Yeah,
as
it
it touches
translates
the
to-
ground, Nathan's hand comes up, and you got that great sound effect. And watching that, my wife, she watched it with me last night.
Leave
She's
it to
like,
the
"Wait a
drunk
minute."
Irish to
Right,
think that
totally.
an alcohol is the water of life.
Sarah looked at me and said, "Wait, did the whiskey bring him back?" And I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh my
Yes,
God,
it
it did."
Pour
I looked it
some
up.
out for my dead homies.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Well, that homie
Bring him
comes back and just kind of falls on top of her. It's kind of unclear what
Homie don't
he
play.
does. Yeah, I don't know what he does. I don't know if he bites her or
Well, they don't
strangles
show.
her.
They just
just
show
falls
her
on top of
in
her.
terror. Yeah, as
Yeah.
he pops up from the grave, and then it cuts away back to the house,
And she's way too old to get up fast and run.
and they're
so-
still waiting for her.
Yeah.
So then they send Ed Harris to go look for her.
And then before that, he utters the famous line, "I want my cake."
Yeah.
I want
which every horror father on Father's Day has done at least once in their life, if not every year.
I want to start having cake on Father's Day.
I know.
It's
I
not
never
a
had
tradition
cake.
in my
Yeah,
house.
no, nothing at
Needs
all.
to
I'm
be.
lucky if I can sit down on Father's Day.
Right?
Jeez.
You still have to cut the grass.
Yeah. I want you to relax.
How come I took you out to dinner for Mother's Day, but I still have to grill on my own day?
Because that's the way it is.
That's right.
So there's a lot of disco dancing going on with Ed Harris and his girl to "Don't Let Go," and everybody, Aunt Sylvia, and the nephew who just drinks the whole time.
Yeah.
It's funny, is getting annoyed. Ed Harris goes out for some air and decides he's going to go stroll around the family graveyard.
And look for.
Is that rain?
Yeah.
That's the rain,
Holy
man.
crap,
It's
the
really
rain is
coming down
really
out
coming
there.
down.
Here comes the rain again.
Sorry, folks, it's the rain. Nothing we
Falling
can do
on my
about
head
it.
like a memory.
So Ed Harris finds the disturbed grave and does not see anybody, but of course he sees the bottle of booze, which basically just has Aunt Bedelia's backwash in it. But he decides he's going to drink it anyway.
Nice.
And he clumsily falls into the grave. The
Yeah.
gravestone falls on his head. It's got the nice cartoon smush. And, and of course, dead Nathan Grimm's using the Force to move the gravestone. And so,
as ghostly ghouls do.
yeah, because they're Jedi,
Yeah,
I guess.
Magical grave things.
Lucas showed up on the set for 5 minutes, was like, I think I got it.
I am your Father's Day cake.
The scene reads like poetry.
It rhymes.
George, how did he do that? It's poetry. Get him off. Get him off the set. Nope. From there, what do we got? We go back to the family, and the girl wonders.
Sylvia goes looking for
Right.
the house lady,
Mrs. Danvers.
Dan-
Mrs. Danvers, where's that fucking ham? We've been waiting for it for how long now? She doesn't say that, but this whole like segment centers around this ham, and
well, because they're hungry. They've
yeah,
been waiting,
they're very hungry. They're
waiting for
right.
Bedelia.
So she goes looking for Miss Danvers, and she ends up dead. And before she can react, she turns around. Nathan Graham shows up and
That's a great scene.
twists her head around. Yeah,
Like
great effect.
it is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is.
I want my cake. Snap. Matter of fact, gets right to the point.
Yep.
So the remaining two go looking for Ed Harris, go looking for Aunt Bedelia, Aunt Sylvia, Mrs.
Everybody.
Danvers, Professor Plum, Scarlet, whoever the hell is left.
Dean, you were in this?
They go looking for Dean. I've got candy corn, Dean.
It's a candy corn cake with black licorice candles.
I want my licorice all sorts.
You gotta bang down on the. And of course, they come across dead Nathan Grantham with
With a tray with
Sylvia's-
Sylvia's head.
Now, Sarah brought up a point. She said, "Now, why is Sylvia's head on the platter and not Aunt
Bedelia's.
Bedelia's?
Bedelia.
You know
Would
what's
that
funny
make
is
no?
that this
Wouldn't that
time
make more
around-
sense?
I always think that it's Bedelia's
Me too.
head on that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And this time I'm like, and Jen said the same thing when we were watching it. Like,
Yeah.
I
No,
just
it's
accept
Sylvia.
it. It's always
Yeah.
the girlfriends
Yeah.
and the wives that
Yeah,
say.
I think it was like only a few years ago that I realized it wasn't Bedelia. Like
Yeah.
all the times that from the first time I watched it all the times I saw it on HBO, and I'm like, that's not Bedelia.
No,
Why?
Because her
Sylvia.
body's back at the graveyard somewhere.
Well, he
didn't-
totally could have ripped her head off.
Yeah, but he didn't carry it
snapped her
home with
neck.
him.
He kind of lets her off easy. He just
Yeah.
falls on her, and for all we know, she just had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because when Ed Harris finds her body, it's
Yeah.
in the ground, but it doesn't look mangled or anything.
no.
So Sarah says to me, "Did she actually kill him?" And I said, "No, that's ridiculous, honey, because they showed Bedelia smashing
Yeah.
the fire. Yeah, but Aunt Sylvia's telling
Sylvia
the story.
covered it up.
And she did cover it up. What if she's hiding it?" And I went, "Whoa, mind blown."
I think it's that they all knew that it happened
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
didn't do anything. They were just like, oh, yeah, we hated him.
Yeah.
But shouldn't all their heads be on cakes then?
This is true. Like,
Yeah,
I would have had a Bedelia
That would have been
cake.
kind of cool, huh? It's just
Well,
a
I mean,
smorgasbord of head cakes.
Like the two kids were obviously like money grubbers, but were they part of it? Did they know back then? Because she's sitting there telling the story.
yeah, they knew, but
So I
they
feel
didn't
like they
partake in
weren't
it.
around, so they were like kind of considered innocent, maybe in his eyes. And
Well, they do survive. Well, seemingly,
I mean, he
we
offers
don't
them
know
cake.
what happens.
He offers them cake.
Yeah. Yeah, Sylvia's head.
And his hands are full, so like they have a chance to turn around and run. Or eat the cake, whatever they want to do. I don't know.
So it says here that in the present day, Bedelia arrives at the Grantham Manor that evening. She stops by the family cemetery just outside the mansion, lays a flower at her father's grave. She drunkenly reminisces about the murder and reveals that Sylvia staged the killing as an accident in order to steal and distribute Nathan's fortune among the rest of the family.
Yeah.
All right. So that story ends, and we go right into the next story, which is the lonesome death of Jordy Verrill, played by Stephen King. I'm going to give my voice first. Anybody want to?
So I'm just going to pop in for a second.
Go for it. Yeah,
something
please
that
do.
I had completely forgotten. I'm a Bob Dylan fan, and when I first heard the song "The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll," I realized that is where.
See, I
Stephen
didn't realize
King got that name
Oh,
from.
no kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and not being a Bob Dylan fan like you, I didn't make the connection.
Yeah, it's,
Why didn't you look fan of me?
it's a song about a maid that's murdered by the rich.
Mrs. Danvers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It ties in more with
It all
with
connects.
your former story.
Do you want to bring us through this one? Anybody?
So I guess this is a pretty simple one to tell. So
Yeah.
So Stephen King is Jordy Verrill, and he's a lunkhead.
Which he'll tell you over and over.
Oh, you lunkhead, Jordy Verrill! Which I don't understand because he's supposed to be in Maine because they have the signage for
For
Maine.
Castle Rock.
Yeah,
and
and
But
everything
he's
takes place.
kind of putting on a southern accent as he's
Oh,
doing
he might
it.
not be a native.
They didn't want him down there, so he
Yeah.
came up here.
There are people like that
Yeah,
up in Maine.
Hicks are
There
Hicks,
are.
no
Yeah.
matter the state.
Yeah. Every state's got them, and they're all the same.
There are no Hicks in Maine.
That accent comes with the IQ. Like, what if it-
And now a word from our new local sponsor, Chick Lumber from Freiburg, Maine. Oops.
All listeners in Maine.
Okay, anyway.
So they've cut the three geeky dads.
We'll find them.
So
Follow your nose.
follow your nose?
So a
Follow your
meteor
nose.
crashes in the backyard of Jordy Verrill's cabin. Shack.
Tar paper shack.
He
It's
is
a
not
shack,
living
yeah.
the life.
Yeah.
And
He's got a TV.
and
That's all
so
he
he
needs.
does have a TV, and he's watching A Star Is Born, I believe is what he's watching
Yeah,
on
the
TV.
original, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And being the lunkhead that he is, he goes and touches the meteor, and he licks his fingers after that.
Because he burns his fingers on the hot
and he
meteor.
gets these little like warts from touching
Yeah,
it,
like
and-
blisters.
or- yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I get some kind of skin blemish, I think of this thing.
Don't put this in my mouth.
I do, just because that's what
and
he
you have
did.
this compulsion to
Yeah.
lick it. No.
So some of the most amusing parts of this sketch is his thought process ends up being these like cartoonish skits is the best word for it.
Absolutely,
Like,
yes.
you know, I'm going to bring this down into the meteor department.
The meteor
Exactly,
department.
the local college, the Department of Meteor.
Up the college, which apparently $200 is as high as they'll go
Yes.
for a meteor.
Well, it's all cracked.
Oh, Jordy, you lunkhead.
$200 for a broken meteor.
Oh, you done it now, Jordy Verrill. You lunkhead.
$200 for a broken meteor? Mr. Verrill, you must be joking. I wouldn't give you 2 cents.
Jordy Verrill, lunkhead.
Yeah, so he has a few different, like, his imagination runs away with him. First, in, like, how awesome. It's kind of like a Christmas story. In, like,
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I love
it is.
it.
Yes, it is. Wow.
And so he's, the first time they're all like, yes, he's great, Jordy Verrill, you're the greatest, you're going to be a... I forget the line. The lines are really funny in that.
Oh, it's I'll pay off that bank loan. which for some reason Sarah and I cracked up laughing at. And it's like, that's what you want to do. Because
honey, we got to find a media so we can pay off our bank loans.
And then
which ironically, for $200, you're not paying off your bank loan. I hate to tell you. Sorry.
And the meteor breaks, oozing a whole bunch of green glowing ooze, as they always seem to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
because it's space.
And he knows that he can't get the money for this because it's broken. And so the next thought process is how, we're not paying for a broken meteor.
People up to college are laughing him back to the farm.
And so he does start to grow a little bit of kind of greenish
grass, like grass,
some type of mossy mold, and all around there is a very alien vegetation, very Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The color out of space.
Yes, yeah. Which this movie does have a lot of little subtle Lovecraftian references. We'll get to that in the crate too. And so he goes back to his cabin, and it just kind of starts to grow on him, as the
little
title
patches
would.
on his face.
Yeah,
and
wherever he touched.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it itches, so just kind of like poison ivy,
Yeah.
and it's spreading, and it is spreading all over around
it's on
the
the
place,
arms of
too.
his armchair, from where he put his hands down when he's
It's on the
watching
deer
TV.
head trophy. It's on the
It's on the
TV.
TV.
Whatever he touched.
And notice
it spreads quickly.
We'll get to it. Keep going.
And so he's itching, and he wants relief, so like anyone who has
he
any type
jumps
of
in the bath.
vegetation, he jumps in the bath, and it just accelerates the
'cause
process.
he waters it.
And then he dreams of his dad, or thinks of his dad, who berates him for being a lunkhead. It's a very simple story, but he's so entertaining in this.
Yeah.
And he crosses his eyes so much.
That's surprising. You don't go to
I
a
know.
signing and he's still got crossed eyes. I didn't say that way.
That's why he wears such thick glasses now. And it's amazing how much he looks like Joe Hill. Joe Hill looks like him.
Yeah,
But
right.
looking at this, I hadn't, watched this since I saw Joe Hill, not that long ago.
But knowing now that Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, because I never knew that way back when. Now I'm looking at him like, holy crap, he looks like Stephen King's mini-me.
He does.
And now he looks exactly like
he does,
Stephen King. And so the moss plantage grows completely over him until he's one giant heap.
Yeah.
Kind of like the original Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
he ends up doing he takes a shotgun and ends up blowing what's left of his mossy head off.
Yeah.
But not before. He makes himself what I think is a screwdriver.
Oh yeah.
Another drink
Yeah,
right
so
before he
that
dies. He makes himself one final drink, which I'm sure that being a liquid only accelerated the growth in some way.
Could be.
And then he's
hopefully
really
it dulled a
the
little bit of the
only
pain, too.
innocent. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only real innocent person. Maybe Ed Harris too.
I was going to say, Ed Harris is kind of innocent.
Yeah. To get that kind of.
But you get the idea that Ed
Comeuppance.
Harris is a little bit of a I think they even hint at it that he's kind of a gold digger.
He's a bit
Well,
of
he's
a
marrying
social
into that
climber,
family.
exactly.
Yeah. Stephen King is just. I mean, Jordy Verrill is just 100%. A victim of circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, as much as the horror comics were bashed by the moral, they're filled with morals.
Yeah.
They're filled like it is.
They're all
almost
cautionary
always.
tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people couldn't see past the violence,
No.
which still happens today, amazingly.
And so it is very much in the tradition of the EC Comics to have that, you cheat on someone's wife, something's going to happen to you. You murder the person who cheats on someone's wife, that's going to happen to you.
You go peeking under your stairs for a crate, you're in trouble.
I know.
I want to mention, too, we talk about Stephen King being awesome in this, but I want to mention Bingo O'Malley, which is the greatest name. Bingo O'Malley, who plays the dad,
Sounds
the
like the
doctor,
name of a leprechaun.
and the professor. Hi, Bingo O'Malley.
He's all three.
It's all three guys, and he's great in all three roles. Adds a lot to that movie. It's nice to have somebody for Stephen King to work off of, too, even if it's only briefly.
Yeah.
So,
And you know what the green stuff made me think of is when I was a kid, they used to be you could, send away for all these fun little, you'd put it in water and it was
Magic rocks.
yeah. right? Like the stalactites and stalagmites, and it would and it was
put
like
it in a fishbowl, and it would grow from the bottom up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what it made me think of.
I've never heard of those.
Yeah.
You never heard of magic rocks?
Never.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have to
I
find
live in
some
sheltered
magic
land.
rocks.
No way.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie. I'm not touching anything.
Marc, you're not getting those
Don't
magic
put your
rocks.
sea monkeys in the same bowl as the magic rocks, or they'll die.
Don't they die anyway the moment you open them up? Sea monkeys.
Boy, was that a disappointment.
Garbage.
Fun with freeze-dried pets.
I know. Same thing with the X-ray
I tried to
specs.
do that with my puppy, but
Dad, can I get the X-ray specs? I want the X-ray specs. They don't work. How do you know? Because if they did, I'd have some. Good point.
I believe that's almost a line in this movie. Oh, they don't work. They just make your eyes blind.
Yeah, the garbage. That's the garbage man at the end. Yeah,
right.
Tom Savini as one of the garbage men, and the other guy from Out of Control, which I can't remember his name.
Out of Control?
Yeah, it was a show with Dave Coulier. It was on Nickelodeon. It was, it's not worth talking about. It's really not that
You
good.
lost me at Dave Coulier.
So did Alanis Morissette.
I know. It's like Ray.
Isn't that wrong?
on your podcast.
I know, right?
So now we go into the next one. Does someone want to
that's-
spearhead Leslie Nielsen and
Go
Ted
ahead.
Danson?
Me?
Or do you want me? Or
All right, so it starts off where Ted Danson shows up. Leslie Nielsen's. Is it Leslie Nielsen at Ted Danson's house or Ted
Leslie
Danson?
Nielsen shows up to Ted Danson's
Right,
house.
because he called him.
Wentworth? Yeah.
And turns out that Ted Danson has been sleeping with his wife, and he's not too happy about it. And he says that something's, he's done something with her. He won't tell him what, but he needs to come with him. And he brings him down to the beach. And it's a private beach that Leslie Nielsen apparently owns the whole beach, so no one's going to hear anybody calls for help. And he shows him a dirt mound on the sand. And at first, Ted Danson thinks that it's got to be her.
He buried Becky.
Something terrible is going to happen.
But he tells him that he's going to incapacitate him. He wants him to dig a hole and get in it, and he's going to incapacitate him. And he sets up a TV. I still don't know how he does this.
He must have had 2,000 feet of extension cord.
Right?
They really
And he was so
show
proud
that
of his
there is
technology,
a really
too.
long extension cord.
They're in the back of his truck.
Yeah.
It's there.
He loved his technology.
He did.
He was so proud of all his
Oh,
equipment.
I know, and because his house is he's got the big screen and it's
He
behind
does.
a bookcase. He's
Yeah.
got like a whole James Bond villain setup.
Exactly.
Where he hits a button but
But even when he goes to Ted Danson's house to confront him in the beginning, as soon as he has his say, Ted Danson's trying to talk with him, and he's looking at his TV like, this is shit. What do you like?
I'm surprised you didn't notice the change of quality in your picture.
These cables are loose.
I have a guy. If I wasn't about to kill you, I'd give his number.
I'd help you, but I'm going to kill you.
But on the screen that he's forced to see while he's buried up to his neck in the sand is what was the girl's name?
Becky.
Rebecca.
Becky. They call her Becky.
They do call her Becky.
And Becky is also buried neck deep in the sand.
Down the beach a ways.
And the tide is coming in, and he's watching her slowly but surely, get washed up. And then the same happens. Hey, Leslie Nielsen's like, all right, well, I got to get going, and packs up his equipment. And
You stay and watch
off.
the show.
gets in his Jeep and drives back. And shortly thereafter, this was a short one too, actually. Come to think of it.
You're given there's a lot of dialogue
Well, yeah,
exchange.
there's dialogue.
in it.
Yeah, that
so-
opening scene in the apartment goes
It
on
does.
a little.
Yeah.
And it right off the bat, Leslie Nielsen is showing how he's a cold.
He's a vindictive.
Yeah. It's it's all you're not
cold-blooded and murderous, and
you're not getting Agent. What's his name? And
Frank Drebin
Frank
is not
Drebin.
showing
No,
up.
it's not
no,
Frank
no.
Drebin here.
No, but he does have like a vicious glee about him. He loves what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's very smug. Well, he's smug.
In his torturing of
He's very
Ted
smug.
Danson.
Like you said about the TV. Like he's smug and he thinks that he's better and he thinks that he's smarter and he's very sure of himself. And
his line, I'm only crazy when things that I love are taken from me.
Yeah.
Like that kind of it is that I'm crazy, but I'm normally normal. I'm just, this is what I do.
So he ends up going back to his apartment and he wants to watch watch it take place, I guess, right?
He's sitting there having a drink.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he says, he's what does he say to him
Well,
before
all right.
he leaves?
So
he says something
Richard, Ted Danson's character, is about to drown.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna get you.
And then he looks up at the camera, and his long hair, which isn't his toupee at this point, whips around right behind him.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'm gonna get you. You
Yeah.
hear me, Richard? You hear me, Richard? I'm gonna get you." And Leslie Nielsen says, "Gotta hold your breath, Harry. Just gotta hold your breath." That's what he does.
And then they have that really cool shot with him as the water's above him.
Yeah.
And it's him, and he's like under the water. There's like a red glow behind his head.
Yeah. And his hair is like straight up.
Yeah.
And he's drowning, and all the bubbles are coming out of his nose. Oh, it's a great shot. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then he's at his house. Remind me though, you're gonna have to take over from
It's
here.
a beach house, right?
Yeah. But he
Comfort Point.
Yeah.
He calls it. I call my house Comfort Station.
But how does the stalking start?
Well, it says hours later, Richard returns to Harry's grave, quote unquote, to collect the videotape.
Yes, to get the
Right, and he can't find the bodies, so he
and he says
he finds the ruined
current-
monitor.
yeah.
The TV is there, but no sign of Harry.
And he just
doesn't
chalks it out. He chalks
he's
it
like,
up to the
the
ocean
tide
washing
took him out.
away.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, he keeps trying to convince himself that the current pulled him out.
Exactly.
It pulled him out. It pulled him out.
Later that night, Richard hears voices calling his name as a mysterious unseen presence easily bypasses Comfort Point's extensive security system.
Oh, and I got to talk about the noises they play. It's
dude.
Like what do you call it? A slide or a strum, whatever, from a violin string or something.
like the
whatever
bow?
A bow matched against the wet thudding sounds of their footsteps.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's great.
Who's out there?
Yeah, and the culprits that are invading his sanctuary turn out to be Becky and Harry, returned from the watery grave.
And the makeup on them is fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's awesome.
So good.
And when he shoots them, the black sludge that comes out.
Yes.
And
And their voices, it just,
And the pun, we're coming to see you.
Yeah.
or we want to see you.
Yeah.
Shoot us dead, Richard, because we're already dead. We want to see you, Richard. We want to see you. We want to see you, Richard.
Yeah.
A lot of joking around in this one. I mean,
Yeah.
this is classic EC Comics right here.
Yeah.
The ultimate, revenge.
Yep.
story.
So they turn everything around on him and they bury him up to his neck and wait for the tide to come in.
And he's laughing his ass off.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
he's
this is
totally insane at this
extremely
point.
funny to him.
Totally insane. I just think he's insane. I don't think he thinks it's funny.
I think he thinks it's a riot because he's looking at right away. He doesn't do he screams at first, but as soon as they start talking, it's almost like.
I can hold my breath for a long time.
He thinks it's a gas that this is happening to him. It's almost like this dude watched these kind of movies and all those TV screens he has in his house, and he's like, "Oh, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm one of these characters now. This is a riot."
Yeah.
I could be reading way too into
I
it,
think
but that's what I
don't know.
get into it.
I always thought
He
that he had just
probably
gone
is
completely insane.
But he's got these expressions on his face.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He thinks it's a riot. I don't know. Whatever.
Did you read the alternate ending to this?
I saw it, yeah.
On
It's-
IMDb,
Where the
they
police
have a-
show up, right?
Yeah.
And
The police show up because he called about the intruders,
Yep.
and they find out that he murdered.
Yeah, they find the
them.
videos and see the
And
murders.
so he ends up being sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of him, you have to hold your breath, comes back because he says, I can hold my breath.
Oh, it's in the
really
gas
long."
chamber.
Yeah.
gas chamber.
Ah,
That's right.
okay. So that's how they're going to
Not
execute him.
filmed. No, it was only
Yeah.
in script form.
Right.
I got you.
Which is kind of cool, but it's doesn't fit the tone.
It's
of the
not
rest
as
of
poetic.
This. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
No, this is
I like
much
the way.
more fun.
Yeah, I like
But
the
it
way
would
it's
it would be
Twilight
nice
Zone
to have
episode.
seen how these two operated digging a hole
Yeah.
and working.
Don't tell me what to do.
Adjust the tracking.
We've only been undead for 5 minutes. You're already running my afterlife.
Be kind, rewind.
Under the sea.
And
Darling
then,
is better. Where you'll be dead. Take it from me.
Yeah.
and then from then we freeze to a cell and we go into my favorite story out of them all, the crate.
The crate.
The
I think it's
classic-
everybody's
It's,
crate.
it's like, I mean, it's not mine.
Which one's?
I know
Well,
it's
we'll get to it.
supposed
We'll
be.
get to it. We'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to it.
Subject
sorry.
of many a junior high production.
And by many, we mean one that we know of.
This whole thing is what I love about it is, you know, with monsters you tend to have to go into the woods, you got to go to the castle, the swamps, the whatever.
This one, the monster
graveyard.
comes to you.
Well, the monster's just right under the stairs.
Yeah.
This is something that's just under the stairs. You know, it's that confined space kind of thing that I like in film. So, so this is the crate, and we are with Hal Holbrook and Fritz Weaver playing Dexter, and oh my God, I can't remember the other guy's name. It's escaping me.
Professor
Henry. How could I forget Henry? Where are your balls' earrings?
Henry is the part that I played.
Were you
I was a young Fritz Weaver.
You'll be wearing your balls for earrings. Henry is at this faculty party at the Horlick University, and Fritz Weaver, who plays Dexter Stanley, is this prestigious professor, and you know they're talking and everything.
There's a
He's
young
talking to
couple
people.
that's-
There's a
that
young couple
arrives.
there, and Henry's there with his wife Wilma, who is just a drunken. Just foul mouth.
Call
bitch.
me Billy.
Everybody does. Played perfectly
Oh, yeah.
and against normal typecasting by Adrienne Barbeau. Sweet, innocent Adrienne Barbeau puts on an incredible performance in this. I mean, yeah, she was Maggie in Escape from New York, and she's tough.
See, the problem I have with this vignette is her.
Really?
And it's not her in general. It's the
Wow.
fact that, like, the most unbelievable part of this entire movie, all of the vignettes, is the fact that Hal Holbrook would have married this woman to begin with.
Excuse me, who knows? But I think
So you think she may not have always been like this? That she, like,
I would imagine not.
developed
I
into
always
a-
thought she was somebody who, because of her drinking, developed into that person. That's what I got from that. Because she
That's
always
very
has a drink
possible.
in her hand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody can stand her. And
she's very outspoken and
but
opinionated.
But
and,
it's
Yeah.
it carries.
I mean, that's how we get when we have drinks in our hands.
Not me, never, not once. I've never thought about feeding my wife to a monster in a crate, not once. I love you, honey.
Talking about the podcast, you just took it to a really dark
know,
place.
really.
I just
Jeez.
thought that's where we're going. Sorry.
Sorry, Sarah.
She's okay. She knows. She's thought of feeding
Is she
me to a
okay? Should
monster.
we make a call?
No. She's fine.
a wellness check. Make sure she's not in a crate under the stairs.
Or under the sea? This is the ocean state after all.
I was going to say she could hold her breath for a long time, but that was going to go a whole other thing. And this is
Well, it
not
doesn't work
that
if you say, I was
kind
going to
of show.
say, and you say
I'm
it.
not a regular on this.
No, you're not. I want to make that clear now.
I'm just a guest. I didn't know what this was.
Oh, Dean, you're one of us.
Dean, you have papers to sign before
One
you leave.
of us.
One of us.
I got to disagree, Derek. I think she carries this one. I do. I mean, I think her because
Oh no,
again, I know
don't
who
get me
she
wrong.
is.
She's fantastic.
The
I love her.
setup is great,
Yeah.
and her lines are awesome. I really enjoy watching her.
Yeah.
But anyway, agreed. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's still
It
a
just
good story.
that part of it just doesn't make sense to me. That
Well, I mean, there's a thing living in a crate since 18 something. You know, if you're gonna buy that,
So,
you
yeah, I
can
buy that.
this.
I buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
There's a line, and if you cross it, forget it.
So
Yeah,
here's where I was going to make the comment about the H.P. Lovecraft on IMDb, which is not always accurate because people say
Right.
it there.
Yeah.
They said that the was it Antarctic or Arctic Arctic
It's the Arctic.
Yeah.
Arctic expedition
Is the thing from another world.
is the thing from another world. I was pretty sure that was referencing the H.P. Lovecraft in the Mountains of Madness.
Could have been.
I think is more what that was.
Yeah.
Right.
Does the date match up?
I don't know, but it would be more the
Because they give a very
1800s.
specific date.
Yeah.
which is odd.
But didn't the people also kind of throw that in there mainly because the name is Julia Carpenter and they thought it was a reference to John Carpenter?
Oh, that could be.
And
Jay
the Arctic
Carpenter, Jay
expedition
Carpenter.
and the
Yeah.
whole thing.
That's true.
As well. But whatever the reason, so during this party, Professor Dexter gets a call from a janitor who's flipping a coin to get a drink, might I add. And he doesn't catch the coin because he's a klutz, and the quarter rolls under the stairs where he finds the crate. This is actually how the segment opens. I should have started with this. I'm sorry. And he sees the crate, and he decides to call Dexter Stanley and say, I found something you might want to see. It's from 18 whatever. Did they make Reader's Digest back then? And Dexter, who'll do anything to get out of this party, I think, and get away from Henry and his wife Wilma's like, oh no, I'll go take a look. And they go and they find the crate. They pull it out from under the stairs and they open it up, and out jumps Fluffy, a bonsai Bigfoot, this like bonsai tree-sized Bigfoot, all teeth and hair, and just devours Mike the janitor.
Yep.
Right away.
Whole.
It's a great
Just
scene.
eats him whole, leaves only a boot.
How much can it eat? So, of course, Dexter, in hysterics, runs up the stairs, and that's when he runs into a student who's working there in the summer, Charlie Garrison, and says, "Oh, there's a thing in the crate. It's in."
Call security.
Yeah. And Charlie Garrison says, "Oh, you're drunk."
I can smell it on you.
I'll go down and take a look. He goes down, he sees all the blood, and then he thinks Dexter did it, and said, no, Dexter, that's kind of funny. And he said, no, it wasn't me. And then he sees the shoe, and it's under the stairs, and he wants to get the shoe to measure the bite marks,
That's
like
right,
Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws or whatever. And then he's attacked.
This was no boating accident.
It's not even a boat under the stairs. You can't use that one, Mayor, whatever your name is. The hell's
Let me guess, Mother.
And so Charlie Garrison is eaten. They got the great shot of him tearing off the piece of flesh from the neck, which is awesome. Yep. And Dexter Stanley runs. He goes and he finds Henry at his home. Wilma's out with the girls or whatever the hell she's doing.
Yeah,
You skipped over the first part at the party, though. The first hallucination.
True. I am going through this.
Oh, yeah.
He does have these hallucinations of killing his wife. There's one hallucination where he shoots her with
that first one's my favorite. Right in front of the party.
And everybody applauds after.
I know. They all do the little golf clap.
And we've all thought that. We've been confronted, cornered by people, and thinking, what if I shot them?
Yeah.
Nobody here.
I haven't shot.
Oh, okay.
No. Maybe you guys have.
Derek, call Sarah.
Edit that part.
You want me to plug in my phone to this? Let's take a go.
Why is this episode so short?
I remember being there longer. Wilma is, and then Wilma's on her way out. There's another hallucination of him strangling her, but he wants to kill her. He just doesn't have the guts to do it at the point. So, cut to Dexter Stanley showing up at his place, and he's in hysterics and talking about this thing and the crate and all the people that are dead. And Henry gives him a couple of drinks. It makes him, they settle down. He tells the story, and this is where Henry thinks, well, he's either full of shit or I found a way to kill my wife. This is perfect. He ends up going to the university, but before that, he writes a letter to Wilma saying that a girl that Dexter has been seeing, and you kind of see that in the beginning of the party. He's kind of flirting with this.
And she mentions it. She says something about.
She notices it.
Yeah, she notices this.
She's watching him with a younger girl and
going on. Yep.
Yeah.
So the letter's basically saying, listen, you're so smart. You talk about, he placates her ego and says, you can. If anybody can get her out, you can, because you're always right. What would I do without you? Blah blah blah. Wilma comes home, makes a drink, a White Russian. No, yes, it is a White Russian, I believe, and milk and
Lebowski approves.
Yeah, okay, go with that. And
dude, I'm holding a beverage, man.
And she drives over to the university.
That crate tied the whole room together.
Yeah. And finds Dexter downstairs. Meanwhile, as Wilma's driving to the campus, there's this great montage with this beautiful piano score by John Harrison, which we should mention the music a little bit later because it's awesome. Every scene has great music. He's cleaning up all the blood. He's getting everything all perfect for her arrival. She arrives. She's half drunk already. And he says, "Oh, the girl's under the stairs and won't come out." And he starts laughing. What's so funny? There's a funny side to it. This is an awesome performance by Hal Holbrook.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he leads her under the stairs, and nothing's
Well,
happening.
you see, that's what's so funny. The girl has crawled under the stairs, and she won't come out. She's all curled up, like a little baby. Oh, Henry's funny sounds.
What did he do to her?
Well, you can get her out, Billy. I know you can get her out. Give it a try. You always know how to.
There is no monster. She's blabbing. Nothing's happening. And he starts shaking the crate, saying, "Wake up! Just tell her to call you Billy." Nothing's happening. And you, as the audience, are sad.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
What are you doing, Henry? What are you doing?
What I should have done a long time ago. Get in there, Wilma. Tell him to call you Billy, you bitch.
Stop it! Stop it, Henry! I'll scream!
Oh, scream all you want. I'll help you. Wake up! Wake up, whatever you are. Wake up! Wake up! Dinner time! Poison meat! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
And this is great. This is that whole Norman Bates with the sinking car thing again. You want the killer to get away with this. And she goes on this awesome monologue with lines like, you're a barnyard exhibit, sheep's eyes and shit for brains, and you'll be wearing your balls for earrings. And then boom, the lid opens. Out comes the creature. Adrienne Barbeau gives this great scare, which is perfectly captured in a EC Comics panel.
Yeah.
It looks like it was drawn by Jack Davis.
Shadow.
Just awesome.
You know what, Henry? You're a regular barnyard exhibit. Sheep's eyes, chicken guts, piggy friends, and shit for brains. No good at departmental politics. No good at making money. No good at making an impression on anybody. And no good at all in bed. When was the last time you got it up, Henry? Huh? When was the last time you were a man in our bed? Now get out of my way, Henry, or I swear to God you'll be wearing your balls for earrings. And I swear to God, if you ever touch me again...
Oh, just tell it. Call you Billy.
And then, boom, she's eaten. He gets rid of the crate. He tells Dexter what he did. He threw it off the quarry. The crate goes smash, and cut to them playing chess. And Dexter Stanley says, "Well, what if it gets out, Henry?" And he says, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. If you saw how deep that quarry was, relax, you'll be fine." But apparently, because it was the Arctic, I'm assuming the crate breaks open and the monster apparently can breathe underwater or whatever. And that's how it ends. My favorite one for many reasons.
That crate shows up in other movies as an Easter egg, doesn't it?
Jason Goes to Hell.
Right, that's right.
It's in that one, and I'm sure it's in some other ones
Yeah,
too.
Christmas Story. Fragile.
Did they use that in...
That lamp wasn't a lamp. It was someone's
It was somebody's
discarded
leg. It was somebody's actual leg.
Did they use that in the Creepshow TV series when they did the episode that had all the relics in it?
They did. They did show the crate. You're right. I remember that. Thinking, oh, it's the crate. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that scene.
Yeah. This is my favorite one, probably because of the cast, the best effects.
Yeah.
You've got this awesome
always a sucker
creature,
for a monster story,
always
too.
a sucker for like I said, it's a confined space kind of movie, and
I remember it being my favorite too when I first saw it.
The creature design, everybody says, oh, it's a great Tom Savini, but fun fact. Tom Savini needed help because he couldn't figure out how to design Fluffy. And do you know who he went to?
Did he
Rob
call,
Bottin.
Who did he call?
Rob Bottin.
Oh, Rob Bottin. Yeah. The most overlooked effects artist who's really the best. Yes, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you. We all agree. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, guys. Finish your thoughts for you.
You know we all agree, Mark.
For your sake, I hope so. You're just going to have to hear it. Then I'll ramble on, and you'll have images of shooting me with a 44.
Just call me Mark. Everyone
Tell
knows.
him to call you Marky. Don't do that. Last story. Anybody want to do it?
They're creeping up on you.
Now, Derek does not like this one. I do like this one.
I don't really remember it.
I'm not
though,
a huge
'cause I
fan of
didn't
it,
get
but
But
yeah.
I am a fan of it really only for the performance of E.G. Marshall, who is an actor
He's great.
I love.
He is.
And like Stephen King, pretty much acts alone, except
Yeah.
for the guy that comes to the door
Mr.
a couple
White.
of times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of telephone conversations in this, and if you look online, it's hard to find out who the voices are in,
I
except
thought
for the
one of
woman.
them was Stephen King himself.
There are a few voices that seem so recognizable that I was dying to find out who it was.
And no definitive
no.
answer?
No, not
I
listed
looked too.
anywhere.
Wow.
No, if anybody knows at home, let us know in the comments
The
section.
woman
you,
that
the
he
people at
talks
home
to,
think?
his wife, or
Well, Mrs. Mrs.
Yeah.
Mrs. Katzenjammer.
That's the dead man's wife.
Yeah.
She's listed, but nobody else.
Nobody else.
So this is a pretty basic story. You've got a shut-in, rich, repugnant man who's just your stereotypical rich racist white guy. He's he's king of the castle, and his minions are all below him. But he's deathly afraid of bugs.
He's also an extreme germaphobe.
He's a germaphobe,
and he's sealed
right.
himself off in a hermetically sealed penthouse.
Yep.
Where nobody can get in and nobody can get out, including germs and bugs, and he's
But the
proud of the fact
cockroaches,
the cockroaches
somehow managed
get
to get
in.
Now, is it all in his mind? Is it not? Because
I'd like to think not.
When Mr. White comes back and rings, I say Mr. White, I think Harvey Keitel, but his last name is White.
Yeah.
He said, "What's the matter, Mr. Pratt?
Bugs got your tongue."
And but there's really nothing there.
No.
Like they're all gone and then they show them coming out of the body. But I don't know. Anyway,
Which is a great effect in
It is a
itself.
great effect. It is not. It's probably not the story to end on. I will agree with you there. But I do think it's a good story. Again, really because I love watching E.G. Marshall perform in this. He's hilarious to watch in this. Mrs. Katzenjammer, would you mind telling me who gave you my number? I'd like to fire him. It was in my husband's address book, you son of a bitch. Oh, well, I can't fire him, can I? Awesome stuff. And great music, too. There's this, lighthearted, happy music that's playing throughout this whole thing because he's into big bands and he's got the old school jukebox.
Reminds me of elevator music.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. So the whole thing is he's killing cockroaches and he just sees more and more of them until there's a blackout in the city.
He's got all those cans of bug spray and he's got the gloves on and he's on a mission. He's going to eradicate them as quickly and as efficiently as he
Never get in
can.
here. Never. And when this blackout is over, people are going to pay. Oh, yes. And you'll pay, too. Every one of you. Every damn one of you. I've been beating bugs all my life. And I'll beat you, too. Bastards. Talk to me.
You old monster. Oh, I hope you die. I hope you die. I hope you I hope you die.
Mr. Pratt? You there, Mr. Pratt? Mr. Pratt, talk to me. Talk to me, talk to me. You hoppy bastard. What's the matter, Mr. Pratt? Bugs got your tongue?
And of course, he doesn't succeed.
No,
He gets overpowered by the roaches, and wow, they're the roaches
really
right
coming
now.
down.
That's not rain; those are all roaches.
They're all in the ceiling.
They're all coming. They're all creeping up on you.
You're gonna have to insert some lightning in here to make.
So then we finish up the wraparound story. The story ends, and we find out that two garbage collectors come and they find the comic, and they're going through it, talking about how much they loved it, and they see the ads for the voodoo doll, and somebody ordered that. Turns out to be young Stephen King, the young kid who uses voodoo on his dad at the end. And that's the movie. Yeah. Awesome film.
Yeah.
And
So
agreed.
The animation and the poster design, the comic book cover design, were done by an old, and I wish I knew the name.
I did
not
know
Bernie
I
Wrightson,
do.
was it?
No,
It's not
it was,
Bernie Wrightson.
oh my God, I looked it up.
If it
Bernie
was, that'd be
Wrightson
awesome.
did the interiors of the released graphic novel of Creepshow. But he did. I actually had thought that Bernie Wrightson did the cover. Being a giant Bernie
I know,
Wrightson
me
fan,
too. I
I
love
thought
his
that he
work.
did
No,
that.
Bernie Wrightson.
cover.
Well, yeah, no, he did the comic, but God, I knew this too because I was. The art is done by Jack Kamen.
Jack
A
Kamen.
regular EC artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
I enjoy his islands.
Perfectly good dad joke. Wasted.
Where were you at the beginning of the show?
I enjoy his online learning school.
All right, so Tito sent over the categories he used last week.
Absolutely.
You want to run through these real quick?
For sure.
Okay, let's start. We'll go around starting with you.
Oh, okay.
Or Dean. We'll start
with Dean.
Dean.
He's the
Okay,
guest.
Dean, ready? Here we go.
All right.
Around the table. Favorite story?
Favorite story of the crate?
The Crate.
It's a toss-up between the Geordie and Father's Day, probably.
Okay.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yep, I'm going to go with the Crate.
Yeah.
I love Geordie, though.
Yeah, Geordie would be my second one.
You're all sheep.
Yep.
I like what you like.
Then we'll get along.
It's very Nandor's wife of you.
Nandor's wife. Awesome. Favorite cast?
Oh.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
Favorite cast?
Because some of them only have a cast
I
of
know.
one.
I'm actually gonna go against convention and say Jordy Verrill because
Nice.
he's just brilliant in it.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
you got Bingo O'Malley.
No, I'm going with Dean because he knocked it out of the park on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He did, but on this one, I'm going to go with the Crate. Because I think Hal Holbrook is fantastic, and Adrienne Barbeau is she's stellar.
I'm going to go with the Crate. But I'm very closely considering...
Father's Day?
No. Something to tide you over.
Yep.
Because
Because
Leslie
they're
Nielsen
great off of each
is
other.
awesome,
Yeah.
too.
These are hard.
Yeah.
They really are.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just, when we pick one doesn't mean we undermine the others.
You would think his forehead would act as a shield against the tide. I don't know.
It's like a seawall.
Well, he looks like Hellboy. He looks like Hellboy.
If only they had buried Eli Manning.
Ron Perlman as Hellboy looks like Ted Danson. Take a look next time. Okay, here we go. Favorite effects?
I know it's simple, but I think the Jordy Verrill on that one too.
Okay.
Yeah. That one sticks out.
Really?
I
You
think
too?
Jordy Verrill. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going with. Yeah.
Really?
Jordy.
Yeah.
All
I love
right,
it.
I am the odd man out. I am actually going to go
The
with
Crate.
Father's Day.
Oh.
No, not the Crate.
No, Father's Day is good too because
See, the only thing I don't like about Father's Day is that when they show him, like when you see the actual guy,
yeah.
it looks oversized. Like the proportions.
You can tell it's a dude in a suit.
Yeah, the proportions are really off.
But that close up with
Yeah.
the maggots,
Yeah.
and,
That is a good.
That's
and
good.
the kills themselves,
Yeah.
and just the
Yeah.
fact that it's really not only the first thing you saw, but I think for me, it was my first zombie thing that I saw outside of Michael Jackson's Thriller. So I don't know, something about those effects and because they don't
You
look
said
perfect.
Michael Jackson, and I
See,
don't know why,
for
but
me-
I heard Michael J. Fox in my head.
Michael J.
Michael J.
Fox's
Fox
Thriller.
was a zombie.
Thriller.
For me, the Jordy Verrill thing is so
Derek, he's
unique,
not
and
dancing.
There's almost nothing else like it. Like
I'm glad we talked over that part, you guys. Oh,
I'm
that's
glad I didn't
awful.
have beer in my mouth because I would not have been able to take that one.
Brian, behave yourself.
It will be the shortest
This is
ever.
terrible. This is an awful.
Sorry.
Good God. That's all right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but the effects in that one are so unlike anything you've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other things that have kind of done it, but I've seen a million zombies. I've seen a bunch of creatures that look like Fluffy. but the memory of the
the mossy grass all
and
around.
like I said, it holds up.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
if they redid that movie, if that movie came out now, I feel like those effects would have been the effects that they used.
Yeah.
Because it does. It looks realistic.
Yeah, no, they'd still use that. And probably have some like they'd show the plants growing more.
Right,
with some
they
CG
do.
or something.
And like we said earlier, it's brilliant too because it's like you can almost see like you fill in the blanks, like it's growing where he touched.
Yeah.
You can see where he was in that little shack of his, throughout the night.
And not even just him, but like even like the setting, the yard, the house.
Yeah.
Like inside and out. I don't know if they it almost looks like a painting. Like
Almost.
I don't
Like
know
a
if
matte
they
painting?
actually like I don't know if they did like practical effects on the outside of the set or if they just took a picture and painted on it.
It also reminds me of I don't know if this is a 70s thing, and also kind of how they make cobwebs in movies. You used to be able to get Spider-Man web stuff, and it's basically
Like that
just,
filament.
Yeah, it was it was basically just glue, and that you'd put between your fingers,
Yeah.
and then when you spread your fingers,
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
stretches out
Yeah.
and makes like a little bit
Ging,
of webbing.
That is my favorite thing to do. I used to like to take Elmer's glue and pour it on my hands and rub it all together and wait for it to dry and then peel it.
I think serial killers do that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So why don't you just watch it, Mark?
You the
Why
glue,
don't
you
just
with
be
your
careful?
candy corn. Where am I here?
Am I back at work?
No, the question is where's your wife?
She's a good girl, mother.
Yeah.
She just texted me, but it's fine. We got a mouse in our kitchen, but other than that, we're okay. And it's not abused. It's a well-fed mouse. Next one. Oh, here we go. Okay, so he wrote favorite monster, creature, ghost, whatever. Favorite monster, creature, ghost. There's a couple of ties for this one for me.
I'll go with Fluffy on this one.
Okay.
I might have to go with Ted Danson and Becky.
Ooh,
That's a great effect.
Those are awesome
yeah.
creatures. Yeah.
Same. Ted Danson and Becky.
I'm half with you. It's toss up between the crate and something to tide you over. Those are all
but then
great creatures.
the final transformation of Jordy Verrill, like when he's almost totally.
Yeah, but there's not enough of it.
I know, but it's still great.
It is okay. It's not my favorite effect in that. I get it.
Yeah.
But everything leading
Yeah.
up to it is an awesome effect. But it kind of just looks like a
That's why I went
poorly
with Ted
designed
Danson.
mascot.
Yeah.
No, I know.
And
We
like you
forgot the googly eyes.
He's the green monster from the Red Sox game.
Wally.
Oh my god.
No, and like you said, when he shoots them, and the
Yeah.
black stuff, like the black
Yeah.
liquid that comes out.
Exactly that.
And
that
and
is
they
goo.
don't just look like zombies; they look like underwater.
Yeah.
It's like a
drowned
precursor to like the Pirates of the Caribbean when they had
Yes.
Yeah.
you know
Bill Bootstrap Bill.
Yes,
Yes.
But what
And-
am I
and
trying
that
to say?
crew. Davy Jones.
Davy Jones and his
Or-
crew.
Well,
on
Davy
the,
Jones is
yeah.
very CGI, but like.
Well, I know, but
the
everybody
way
else
that
with
they
the
did his
barnacles,
crew,
they had
yeah.
barnacles all over them, and some
Absolutely.
of them were part
Or-
sea creature. And,
Or jumping back a little bit, the Nazi zombies and shockwaves.
oh, see, I still have to see that.
I just saw this movie this weekend for
You
the
did?
first time.
What's it on, Mark? I got to
It's
see
on
it.
Peacock.
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it tonight.
Peter Cushing, and that is a strange one.
Yeah.
That's
Peter
a tough
Cushing's
one.
in it?
Yeah.
Peter Cushing, Brooke Adams is her name from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Dead
Was
Zone.
it Brooke
yeah,
Adams in
okay.
that one? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
called Shockwave.
Yeah,
Shockwave.
Shockwave.
It's
That's
a
right.
Peter
I
Cushing
always
zombie
used to get
Nazi
it mixed
movie.
up with Shock Treatment, the
Oh, the sequel to Rocky Horror. Totally different movie.
Close,
Totally
close
different.
enough. Okay.
Shockwaves, there it is.
Final one. Did we all go through?
What else is on Peacock now?
Yeah, Birdemic. I don't know how.
How the hell
Oh,
did
it is.
that-
I know.
yeah.
I saw.
Have we
That's
done?
when I went
I
to
know
the
we've
horror
done the
category.
Have we done Birdemic? We have.
Oh, yeah,
right?
You
yeah,
did.
it's-
Yeah,
yep,
very
we
good.
did.
Yeah,
Cool.
we did. That was a drink till it's good.
I
Oh, yeah.
figured, yeah. It would
My
have to be.
knowledge of Birdemic is from you guys.
You're welcome, Dean.
Well, that's what we. That's
Now
what we're
I
here for.
definitely
We're here to
need to
educate,
watch
you know?
it.
No, you should.
Yeah, we watched
I'm
this
gonna
shit,
watch
so
it right
you don't
after.
have to.
Last one. Okay, this is a fun one. We had a fun one with this category last time. Best one to be made into a feature-length film.
Well, that's a good one.
See, I agree. I enjoyed this question when you guys did it last week because it's a tough one because some stories make great short stories,
Yeah.
Right.
but there's nothing to drag
And they're
them out.
succinct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is tough. All these stories are quick and straight to the point, and I think they have to be.
There's no fat on any of them.
What's the name of the last one?
They're creeping up on you.
Yeah, with the bugs.
I mean, that one was kind of made into a movie, Joe's Apartment, but
that's true.
Hi, Joe. I actually think Jordy Verrill has. You wouldn't just have him in a shack, but there is. The plot is great.
But they kind of did that. Like I said, that's very the color out of space.
It's true. Yeah,
it really is.
That is almost exactly that.
But this is a more shortened version, which is an awesome movie.
I mean,
the Nick Cage version is really good.
You could stretch it out in a Killer Clowns kind of format, where it starts with the farmer discovering everything, and then it moves. The invasion moves into the city or into the next local town.
Yeah,
I guess you could.
It's got to eventually spread further.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could have a lot of fun, a bunch of weird looking plant mascots running around.
Well, it's also basically The Last of Us too, in some ways.
If I had to choose one to expand on, I think it would be Father's Day, because I want to see the backstory, not just in flashback.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to go with you on that one.
The other ones I think are like we've been saying are like quick and concise, and I don't think you can expand on the Tide one. That's it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
The Crate.
See, the Crate is
Crate is good, but I don't want to see more of it. I think it's perfect the way it is.
Agreed. And how many people can you really bring to that?
Right,
until
exactly.
Somebody gets,
and then before it gets
break out at the end.
Well, that's my thinking.
And
that's why it's my pick.
Right.
Really?
I like now that the crate is broken. I know what happens. Like what happens to?
So it'd be
Fluffy?
the Crate part 2.
No, he doesn't have a crate, so it'd just have to be called Fluffy.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And then like where does he go? What does he do now that he's in this quarry?
Like we had X and now we've got Pearl.
Unfortunately,
I can't name anything right offhand, but I feel like the general plot of the Crate is made into plenty of full-length horror.
That's true.
Exactly.
The monster.
And then they just kind of pad it out.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of one of the problems with a lot of horror movies. Is that kind of like, all right, now we're just delivering the...
Isn't there a full moon movie called Cellar Dweller that kind of has this plot? I've never seen it, but I remember seeing it on In Search of Darkness. There's a monster in the basement kind of thing.
I believe the monster in Cellar Dweller is humanoid and kind of a mutant.
Right, but does everything... It starts out in a basement, though, doesn't it? Or like in a cellar?
He does dwell in the cellar.
Does he
originate? The title of the movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I believe there's a cellar.
And if Hal Holbrook didn't get rid of the crate, instead he kept it, he could just keep luring people that he doesn't like to this crate.
Well, you could expand on how he... I mean...
Like, like eventually maybe he gets sick of his friend.
Yeah.
His friend's whining and what happens? What about if he gets out? Maybe he's like, all right, you know what? Yeah, come over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you could cover how
one of your
Henry,
students is under the stairs. Go ahead.
You could cover how Henry ends up with Wilma in the first place, which is what you want to know anyhow.
Yeah. I would like to know that.
We could see a little bit of that backstory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Wilma was once sweet. And like Barney in The Simpsons, it took one swig of alcohol.
And maybe he was just so pathetic that that's what drove her to drink.
Yeah,
she's so sick of having to take care of him and keep track of what he's doing so that he doesn't muck things up.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
and then you find out Hal Holbrook is the asshole and she's the right one, and maybe the wrong one got lured to her death.
Maybe. Any of these work.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Any of these picks.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So that's Creepshow. Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Very quickly, what's making our geek flag fly or wave or flap, whatever?
I have to admit, I watched Hocus Pocus 2.
Oh, I knew you would.
Yeah.
I know you would love
and
it.
I was worried. I was dreading. When I hit play, I was like, oh, God, I hope. And it wasn't too bad. It was much more closer to being like the original than I expected it to be. I expected them to go all 2022 Disney Channel BS, like, why is this made? This shouldn't have been made. And instead it delivered, on a few levels, and I liked it.
Good.
Even with Horseface in it, I didn't mind her. She
my girl.
No, you know what I was worried about?
My girl.
I was worried that they were going to try to like de-age her. somehow and make her look as young as she did. Because back then, I hate to admit this, but I found her attractive in
She's
that
awesome.
movie.
She's awesome.
No, she's not. She's
love
awful,
her.
and I'm pretty sure she killed someone.
Well, that's Hollywood.
But
pretty sure she
Who hasn't?
But it was good.
You're just thinking she's guilty by association because now she's with Matthew Broderick.
Exactly, that's what it was.
Black licorice.
She married a murderer. I'm sorry. But it was
She had
it
no
was
control
enjoyable.
over that. She wasn't in that car.
It was enjoyable. It kept the spirit of the original, and so I enjoyed it. And it'll probably make its way into my rotation at Halloween time.
Cool. So as I said last week, I've been kind of revisiting the old classics, a lot of Halloween traditional watching, and one of the things I've been doing while drawing is watching. I've revisited Twin Peaks yet again. I forget how much I love that show, and I always forget how many people were actually in it. Not the regular cast, but how many people showed up, like Clarence Williams the third, who's in the Mod Squad with Peggy Lipton. So there was that tie-in. Freaking Billy Zane's in it. I remember David Duchovny, but I forgot about Connell Cochran from Halloween 3. O'Hurley there is in it, and I just
did you watch the third?
I'm watching it again, thanks to you. I'm gonna go revisit that one next.
Nice.
And
I know, I gotta put the original on there.
like I've said before, huge Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks fan.
Wasn't
Twin Peaks fan?
Wasn't Bowie on it?
Bowie
didn't,
was in it.
Didn't he
Bowie
cameo?
Well, Fire Walk with Me too. He
Yeah.
he had a cameo, and then they used footage of him again in The Return or
did
Twin
they?
Peaks: The Return.
Yeah, I
he
didn't
had
see
a
any of
small
those.
part in Fire Walk with Me, which is excellent.
Yeah, I don't have Showtime, so I
that's a
didn't see any
very
of the new
dark story for Twin Peaks, but it works. It needs to. And the other thing, actually, Derek turned me on to this. Was there's a new documentary coming out featuring David Lynch movies and how they tie into the Wizard of Oz. He's a huge fan of the Wizard of Oz movies. I've read the Lynch on Lynch interview book many times, and him and Chris Rodley, who wrote the book, point out all the similarities in many of his films.
Like some of them are blatant.
Yeah, like Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart is completely blatant, but something
in
like
general,
Blue Velvet, the character Dorothy Valens, the red
and
heels,
this is more like the dynamic of like the way that he tells his stories have like a dreamlike kind of like there's
It's
always,
very ethereal. And
there's always kind of like some, you know, it's got a lot of
there's cryptic stuff.
And he started in black and white and went to color.
That's right.
Yeah, Eraserhead.
Yes.
That's right.
Dean, you've cracked the whole thing.
But this documentary sounds awesome.
Lynch Oz is the name of it.
And I remember him talking about the Wizard of Oz and saying how much it scared him, and they're like, well, yeah, there's the Wicked Witch, the flying, and he's like, yeah.
My
but
sister always hated the
he
flying
said,
monkeys.
but
growing
his
up.
answer to that is, yeah, but the thing that bothered me was, where are Dorothy's parents? And why is it never talked about? And you're like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to this documentary. Dean, what's making you fly?
House of the Dragon, I'm really enjoying. It's completely uncomfortable, and I kind of I like being
I'm
challenged.
1 week behind,
like
so don't say anything about last week's episode.
I won't say anything, but it is as it has been through the whole thing.
Yeah,
it challenges you to like what's going on the screen.
I'm liking it more as it goes on, and I'm liking it more than the Rings of Power, which I'm also watching on Amazon Prime. That's the Lord of the Rings prequel kind of thing.
Which, when you compare the two, one is much easier to watch, but much less interesting in a way. And there is both that and Andor. I can't wait week to week.
I like Andor too.
Awesome. And I'm missing it right now.
I know. I haven't watched today's episode yet either, Dean. I'm
sorry.
I think we should all get in front of that TV once we finish recording.
And
some of us haven't seen the others yet. Wait till November for me.
But being on the Stephen King kick right now, his new book, Fairy Tale, I'm loving, and I'm reading just a little bit of time because I don't want it to end. And
nice.
It's a great book.
Nice.
Cool.
So that's
How about you, Bri?
Well, last night I went to go to the movies with my dad, and we saw Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, I saw that too.
I know you saw it last week,
yeah.
and I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. It was creepy. It was weird.
Yeah.
And I can't stop
beautiful.
thinking about it. It was really.
It was a beautiful
I got to give
movie.
props to Olivia Wilde. She directed a really good movie.
Yeah.
She really framed that movie really well. The cast was great. I love Florence
You know what
Pugh.
I do love her.
Yeah.
But watching it, it made me wonder, like, is she a little overrated?
No. Not to me.
Because don't get me wrong, I like her. I
Yeah.
like her a lot. I think she's a great actress.
Yeah.
I think she's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I feel like because of of her performance in Midsommar,
right,
that she's touted as this like powerhouse actress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't really get that from her.
But that's not what I think
maybe
it was
it's the
supposed
role.
to,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't think that's what
Yeah.
the role was calling for.
Yeah.
You know, she was, supposed to be like this kind of Stepford wife almost throughout most of the movie until she started piecing together what was actually happening.
Yeah.
And then, you could really see her.
I loved what it turned into.
I did too.
Like,
it
I
had
didn't-
elements of the Matrix
and like 13th
and I like
Floor.
that, and the 13th
Yes.
floor. And that I don't know if you guys saw this movie Vivarium we've mentioned before with
Yeah, we
Imogen
saw that.
Poots.
Yeah.
And Jesse Eisenberg, where they're trapped in this community and they can't get out of, and they're being controlled by some unknown force. Chris Pine was fucking creepy in this movie.
Oh, he's really good.
He's a really good actor,
He is.
and he is spectacular.
All the
in this
actors,
role.
really.
But I did enjoy the movie a lot, and I've been thinking about it a lot since last night, and I still don't know if I know what actually happened at the end.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. It made me think, and it was a really good movie, and I recommend it to everybody.
Cool. Awesome. Great show, everybody. Dean, thank you for joining us.
Thanks
again.
for having me again.
Always a pleasure
You
to have you
took
on,
over,
Dean.
took the helm of
Someday I hope to meet Tito.
And I'm
And
sure
ruin the
someday
ma-
Tito hopes to meet you.
and ruin the magic?
I know.
Well, so if folks, we do have Dean or we do have Tito on past episodes, and if you would like to hear either of these fine gentlemen, as well as ourselves, who are also fine gentlemen,
We hope.
Brian, Derek, and myself, me a little more because I'm awesome. Where can you
mom said
go?
so.
She did. She did. She thinks I'm cool.
Sarah, not
Brian.
so much.
Yeah, I know.
No, she.
Check on Sarah, Derek. Check on Sarah. That's all I'm saying. Make that call. Mark's not looking.
Tell him where to go. Just tell him where to go.
You
'Cause
can
I'm
go
gonna
check
tell
on
you all where
Sarah.
to go.
Please, somebody go and check on Sarah.
She's a good girl, mother.
She's gonna love this. I love the show. God.
We can be found wherever you get your podcast from, but we'd like to direct everybody to our hub, which is www.3gdpodcast.com. That's www.
The number 3.
gdpodcast.com. And like Mark said, you'll be able to find all of our past episodes there, along with one-click buttons where you could easily subscribe to us, if you're not already, to the podcast platform of your choice. And we have places where you can rate and review the show. And we also have a Ko-fi page, which is a nice little spot where you can make a donation if you like us and you really want to keep help keep this podcast going. You can make a small donation because podcasting is not cheap.
No, it isn't.
And as always, I want to thank you all for listening.
Thank you, folks.
It's expensive to sound this good.
It is.
It
It is. All right, so until next time, for Three Geeky Dads, I'm Mark.
I'm Derek.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dean.
And we're saying keep watching the skies because that's the only way it's going to distract you from calling Sarah. Thank you. And good night out there, whatever you are.
I like that one.
Nice.
Good.
Woohoo.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
What did the zombie say after he finished running a marathon?
I don't know, Brian. What the hell is that noise in the background?
Hang on. That's a fucking ice machine.
There is popcorn being made.
I'm like,
Dean got all excited. Popcorn.
There was popcorn.
All right, we'll get this show off the road in a second.
Welcome to
quiet.
Three Geeky Dads, the show with no popcorn.
It's all quiet?
No.
No.
The hell?
Oh, let's wait till it finishes.
it sounds like rain.
Oh, it is the rain.
Is that the rain?
Holy shit. Hold on, let me shut that window.
Oh, is it open? Oh.
That's weird. Oh, don't get Lou Ferrigno wet. Jerk.
Yep, there we go.
Well,
Yep.
Still loud, but...
Yeah, that's better.
Is it?
Yep.
Much.
Okay. Nature can't stop us.
Okay. We're going to have to deal with it, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
No
All
long
right.
pauses.
Press, yep.
Everybody just talk.
All right.
Speaking of Sarah, I gotta call her and tell her, hey, honey, you're on the show.
A lot.
Hey, honey, get back on the crate.
Yeah, we did.